Are you ready? This channel has made allegation in other videos that a new dark ages has arrived. Many have welcomed it, but I don't think they are truly prepared for what's about to come. Entire governments around the world are stepping down and resigning, leaving chaos in their wakes. When this happens, will you be ready? In the midterms in 2022, there's only going to be one question on the ballot. Who can get us back to normal? Who can return society to some semblance of order? Because things are about to go sideways in a way that we haven't seen in hundreds of years. Do not underestimate the power of shame, especially from large groups of people. It's the root of cancel culture. Now, many years ago, the Patriot Nurse did a video where she talked about this and how it specifically applied to her and how it applied to many in her profession. Watch this video. I'm going to give you guys the link. It could have been recorded yesterday. The Bible says, in the last days, I will pour out my spirit upon all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions, and your old men will dream dreams. In those days I will pour out my spirit, even on my servants, men and women alike, and they will prophesy. Now that video, it's titled, Why Nurses Eat Their Young. She tells her story. This is from 7 November 2013. It's over 8 years ago, and it could have been recorded yesterday. So I would highly recommend this video. See, channels like hers and mine, we've been forced through shame and coercion to platforms like Patreon. We're not going to have a choice very soon. It's an option now. But that option window is closing. I thank God every day for the partnership with Vimeo. We put up a video yesterday that bothered so many people. It was so truthful. It bothered so many people that I've even had people leave my Patreon because they couldn't handle the truth in it. I had others come to me and say it was life-changing, that they could not believe what they were seeing and that it resonated with them in a way they never thought possible. So $1 per month, less than that per year. My channel, The Patriot Nurse, Jennifer LaFontaine, it's where we're going to have to go because the world is about to go sideways. There's also another channel that I'm on in the evenings. It's called Twitch. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Twitch, you don't need a game console of your own. I'm playing this game, Middle-earth: Shadow of War, just in the background, basically. And it's on my console, and you're seeing what I'm seeing on my TV screen here at home. Up in the upper right, you can see me sitting there. There's a small camera, and we have a chat that goes along the right-hand side, and we can talk about virtually anything. Because in this platform, twitch.tv/Florida Maquis, just like it sounds, they don't have the restrictions of Google and YouTube like you're seeing today especially. So you can join us there. Join us at Patreon. Would love to have you. It is definitely worth your time. Now, the news they don't want you to know. Bitcoin dives after Kazakhstan kills internet. Former Soviet Republic, world's second largest mining hub, is facing major internet disruptions amid nationwide anti-government protests. You see, the entire government of Kazakhstan resigned. All of them. Bitcoin has seen a sharp decline as protests continue in Kazakhstan. The world's second largest mining hub where internet was shut down, forcing local miners to switch off their equipment. You see, they didn't tell you this in the brochure with your crypto, did they? They'll tell you that World events not going to affect cryptocurrency, not like fiat. Really? It dropped 9% in one day. In one day. Now, they bury the headline. See, other than this, there were other things causing crypto to collapse. You ready for this? Among the other headwinds, Bitcoin currently faces is the U.S. Fed's signal for the hike in interest rates, which could happen as soon as this March. The news released on Wednesday triggered immediate market turbulence, sending U.S. equities sharply lower and extending Bitcoin's losses. Stop the presses there. Didn't Bitcoin and all the crypto pirates tell you that this is the democratization of currency? Places like the Fed aren't going to have any ability to affect its value. Really? It's a peer-to-peer net. Really? You see, they lied right through their teeth because it was a Ponzi scheme. They need your dollars to prop it up. About a month ago, I said, get out of it. And had anyone listen to me, those who did, for every $100 that they had invested a month ago, I've saved them 15. Meaning if you left it in there, that $100 is now $85. And it's going to continue. Now, I've also had this pushback from some. Well, it's really Solana, and it's really Ripple, and it's really all these. It's all crypto. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, Dogecoin, Shiba, all of it. Down 10, down 14, down 11, down 9. This is the change versus the US dollar 7-day. This is the change versus the US dollar 30-day. See, they're going to try to cherry pick this one, this change versus USD 1 year. What you need to look at is year to date. Over here to the far right, change versus the dollar year to date. Bitcoin is worth 10% less versus the dollar year to date. Straight down the line. Terra, minus 17%. Avalanche, minus 20% almost. Solana, minus 17%. It's collapsing. It's a Ponzi scheme. Now, the reason I talk about this specifically is because these crypto pirates use logical fallacies and cognitive biases to get you to buy into their scam. The biggest one right now is sunk cost fallacy. Any previously invested resources that cannot be recovered, the sunk cost fallacy occurs when someone includes the idea that I've already put so much into it in their decision making in a way that makes them worse off. It's like the guy that stands at the counter and buys ticket after ticket after ticket, losing tickets. There's 2 people out there that got lucky, but how many millions and millions and millions just burnt away their hard-earned cash to make a couple of people rich? And this is what they call the halo effect. If it was worth so much, crypto, why do they need to hire Matt Damon to push it? Fortune favors the brave. Yeah. Sounds definitely like something a pirate would say. And you can go right through all of these, and you can find different aspects. Halo effect. They need to hire A-list actors. Framing effect. You allow yourself to be unduly influenced by context and delivery. See, I'd love to say, well, since its inception, it's worth way more than when it was worth 0. A hamburger's never been worth 0. I'm not going to be investing in hamburgers anytime soon. You can go right down through, availability heuristic, anchoring. The first thing you judge influences your judgment of all that follows. self-serving bias. You believe your failures are due to external factors because, believe me, the crypto pirates are going to make a bunch of excuses. Yet your successes are your own. Whenever it goes up, they were right. Whenever it goes down, oh, it's the fault of this, and this. So, anyway, this is something else we talk about over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel. Every video we talk about, we dive into this stuff deeply. The Texas sharpshooter, cherry-picking data clusters to suit an argument, or finding a pattern to fit a presumption. Now, main topic, today's video, 10 minutes in. I redid the map to update for 2022 with different colors and patterns to show what the world's going to look like. Now, real quick, just to go over the legend. Dark green, safe areas, law and order, prospering, good places to be. There's kind of a little bit lighter shade of green. Somewhat safe, law and order. Wouldn't necessarily say they're in a position to prosper quite yet, but they're on the bubble. The lightest green, less safe, questionable law and order, financially going the wrong direction. North Carolina, Tennessee, Missouri, and even Utah to some extent. Now, up north and out west, the red with the black dots means you're not only going to face danger from your fellow man, you're going to face danger from your government. It's going to be the double whammy. Everything from Pennsylvania all the way north. Maine only gets red, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Minnesota, California, Oregon, Washington. Not going to talk about Alaska, Hawaii, because what we're talking about here has to do with one specific topic we're going to get to in a minute. But anyway, red, poverty, and vulnerability. Not so much the threat from government, but because the states are so poor, these in red, the states are so poor, they're going to be vulnerable to be targeted by a specific group of people. Way out west, I wouldn't say they're necessarily dangerous, but poverty and indifference is going to be a problem out here. They're going to think they're safe when they're really not. Now, what am I talking about? What I'm talking about is the prisons again. Bureau of Prisons leader retiring under political pressure from lawmakers seeking his ouster. The new person Biden puts in is going to absolutely destroy the prison system, and there are going to be mass prison breaks and prisoners being released. They've been talking about this literally from day one. They're talking about the corruption that is rife within the U.S. prison system. There are millions of people in it. And it has been romanticized, this idea, nobody in prison ever really deserves to be there. Just like no snowflake is ever feeling responsible in an avalanche. And this actually goes out to you ladies. You need to keep your eyes open. Because when these guys start to get out, boy, I tell you what, they're going to have the chiseled look. They're going to be in shape. And they're good talkers. See, after a couple of years, good guys, decent guys, guys that have kept their nose clean, guys that have paid the bills, after a couple of years, most have put on a little bit of weight. Maybe not quite in as good a shape as they should be. So physically, they're not going to look anything like these guys. If after 2 years of lockdown, you meet this guy and he seems all sorts of great, and man, he's just looking fantastic, washboard abs, maybe he's got tats, and he's a real good talker, you might want to ask him some very pointed questions about where he's been the last few years. Maybe the last 5 to 10. Because they're going to infiltrate survival groups. And they're going to become the leaders of survival groups. because it works both ways. I've spent a lot of time talking about how women that look a certain way can manipulate men. Well, guess what? It goes both ways. It's going to depend on what your priorities are. Every group's going to have different priorities. But every group's going to have secrets. Who remembers season 1 of The Walking Dead? Tell you what, season 1 of The Walking Dead was probably the only season they got actually right. Because this guy was supposed to be dead. This guy was his best buddy. His partner ends up shacking up with his wife. Then he's alive. And then, got this guy's got all sorts of things going on, but a good leader. This guy, not such a great leader, but everybody loves him. You see, this is going to be the problem. And it's going to go to the value system of the world you want to live in. And it's not going to apply to everyone. Meaning, your priorities or the priorities of your group or the priorities of your region, that's where they're going to stop. You drive 2 states over, whole different set of priorities, whole different set of things motivating them. So you're going to have to ask yourself a question. Do you want to live in a world where this exists or this exists? Because the two are mutually exclusive. Do you want to live in a world where the authorities can get this far into your personal business, stopping you and making sure that you're wearing something you're supposed to be wearing? See, this was the 1920s. This was 100 years ago, where the government got involved for the good of the greater good of all into what people were and were not wearing, because they thought if this little skirty here was a little bit higher, that it would cause harm to society as a whole. Does that ring a bell? Not wearing something that might cause harm or wearing something to prevent harm? You see, the flip side of that coin, where you get government out of everybody's way, ends up leading to this. And some people think that's not good either. We can't have that in society. So which is it? You see, which is it? You can play the shame game both ways. You can shame government for being too heavy-handed, like what happened in Kazakhstan. They resign, everything collapses, worldwide financial heartache. Or you can shame individual people based on their behaviors simply because it offends your sensibilities. The shame game goes both ways. So it's going to be a hard decision. I know what Florida's answer is. I'm not sure what Georgia's is. I'm not sure, pardon me, what the answer is in Kentucky. Pretty sure I know in California what direction they're going to go. What about your group? I'll leave it there. Once again, it could have been recorded yesterday, and it was recorded over 8 years ago. Why Nurses Eat Their Young, her story. And it's basically a story of being shamed. Being shamed literally out the door. It's horrible, but it's reality. I have a personal story about this type of thing of my own. I'll probably share it over on Patreon at some point. Completely different thing, but that's why there is Patreon. That's why we have Vimeo. It's real, and it has real world consequences. And I'll leave it there. God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.